What's up everyone and welcome back. I'm your host ARCOMICS and today I'm going to be going over all my latest pickups for New Comic Book Day, March 9th, 2022. I picked up a total of 12 issues this week, and while I normally would be going over my top 10 list, today I'm going to be doing something a little different. Instead, I'm going to be going over all of these books. I'm going to be reviewing them, breaking them down, my thoughts on them, what I liked, what I didn't like. I'm still going to be giving you my top choice of the week. I'm going to be saving that one for last. But before I get into any of these issues, if you are new to the channel, I drop weekly comic book content that's going to keep you up to date on all of the latest releases. So if you want to miss out on any of that, be sure to hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified. Every time I drop new content, you won't regret it. And now, without further ado, let's start talking about these books. Alright everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far today and you were able to pick up all of your new Comic Book Day issues on time. This was a fantastic week for books. We had a lot of new series come out and I cannot wait to talk about them. I managed to pick up 12 issues this week. I did miss out on a few, so stay tuned for my YouTube shorts. I've been doing a lot of 30-second reviews. The books I missed out on I'm going to be grabbing a little bit later in the week, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to talk about these, and like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to be doing this one a little bit different. Instead of my top 10 list that I do every single Thursday, I'm just going to be giving a review on these books, my honest opinion. I'm going to be breaking down the issues, what I liked about them, what I didn't like. I still am going to be giving you my top choice of the week though, but as always, just be aware. So with that being said, there's definitely going to be spoilers. I get really excited talking about these books, especially if I'm going to be giving a breakdown of the actual issue. I will put a little spoiler tag down low once I get a little bit in depth with it though. So this first issue I'm going to be talking about today is from Marvel. We've got The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 92. This is cover A. There's definitely something different about this series, and I just cannot put my finger on it. The vibe feels completely different. Over the last couple issues, this one felt very unimportant to the overall story as well. The way this new volume started off, I absolutely loved everything that they were doing with just Ben Reilly, the Beyond Corporation, Peter Parker. The artwork was fantastic, the storytelling, the development of the actual series itself. I truly did enjoy it, and I highly recommended it. As of late, a lot of these issues just feel very unimportant. They feel very cheesy. And like I was saying, the whole vibe just feels completely different. I don't know if it's just me. The last couple issues I really didn't like. This one really wasn't that bad, but it still had the same vibe. At some point, I think Peter Parker or Ben Reilly was fighting some sandwiches from the Beyond Corporation. I just really didn't like that aspect to it. But then as far as the rest of the issue goes, I really liked what they did with Ben Reilly because that's how everything started with this new volume, and I'm really excited to see how they wrap everything up with him and the Beyond Corporation. Everything that happened in this issue with Peter Parker, I won't be getting too in-depth with that, but it just felt very unimportant to the overall story, and honestly, if they just cut that out completely and all those weird villains that Beyond is making right now that Peter Parker and his teammates are fighting, if they just cut that out, I think the issue and just the series would be so much better right now. Maybe if it was Ben Reilly teamed up with Peter Parker trying to take down the Beyond Corporation, I think that would be awesome. I want to hear your opinions on it down low. And with that being said, overall, I thought it was an alright issue. I still recommend this new volume, but I am really excited to see what they do with the upcoming series. Next up this week, we've got Marvel's Thor, issue number 23. This is cover A, and for those of you reading this one, this is also the end of the arc. Honestly, I thought it was alright in my opinion. This one was a lot better than the other arcs have been. The last time I really, truly enjoyed one of these arcs was the very beginning. Everything with the Black Winter, and then Thanos holding Mjolnir with the stones in it. I'm still reading this series mainly to see how that plays out. I read that, and I was instantly hooked on this series. But then since then, I feel like it's completely dropped off to me. I really don't remember a lot of the things that happened in between. The Donald Blake stuff really wasn't that bad. It kind of fizzled out towards the end, but the beginning of it really had me too. But I like how this arc has been just built up the entire time, that Mjolnir has been corrupted and there's something wrong and they need to figure it out. This issue in particular, a ton of action. We got to see some nice flashbacks in the very beginning with Thor and Odin basically training him with Mjolnir. I like that. But then we jump to the present time. Like I said, a ton of action. That's mainly what this issue was. But then Donny Cates does what he does best, and he left us on another massive cliffhanger, and this is where the spoiler is going to be. So at the end of all the fighting, when Thor had his full Odin force and he went full badass on Mjolnir, Mjolnir got destroyed. But when he finally woke up, he thought he was hearing voices, maybe he thought he was hearing Odin, and everybody put Mjolnir back together, and it seems as though, this is the massive spoiler if you don't want to hear this one, it seems as though Odin's soul might be now in Mjolnir. That was the cliffhanger. I'm hooked again. I really want to know where they're going with this. I'm still hooked from the very first arc, but like I said, everything in between really wasn't that big of a fan of it. If I was you, I would definitely wait for some trade paperbacks for this one, but now on to the next one. Next up this week, I'm going to be talking about Marvel's Venom, issue number 6. This is cover A. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really not a big fan of this series so far. I really don't think it's all that good, mainly because I'm not a big fan of Dylan right now. I feel as if they knew he was going to be a main character in this series, they would have done a little bit more with him in the last one, especially now that we know Eddie Brock isn't actually dead, because that last issue is probably my favorite one of the series so far. We got a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and just everything that's been going on while we've just been watching Dylan and Venom this entire time. This issue, as of now, it feels like it's skippable too. It feels like a little side story, like a side mission from a video game. We just have Dylan. He's still trying to figure himself out, where to go, what to do. He doesn't really know if he needs to bond with the Venom symbiote. He's just trying to figure himself out. And now he landed himself in this small little town. He's kind of starting a little turf war between two biker gangs. And honestly, with this issue, I was more invested in these biker gangs. We got backstory on them, and I'm thinking, man, like, all right, Dylan's getting in between this, but the whole time this dude's kind of telling a little backstory about them and how they came to being in this town and why they're kind of rivals with the other gang. I like that about the issue, but at the same time, that has nothing really to do with Venom itself. I want to hear your opinions on this one down low. Not just this issue, but this series. And now let's talk about the next one. Next up this week, we've got Marvel's brand new miniseries. We have Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse, issue number 1. This is cover A. I was really excited to read this series. I was really looking forward to it. However, it wasn't that bad, but I feel like I read this about 2 years ago with Miles Morales for that other series of Spider-Verse. The one that had the first appearance of Spider-Zero, who also made an appearance in this one as well. It feels like it's the exact same series, it's just kind of worded different, and we also have MJ and now Spider-Gwen in this one. Not bad at all, though. It felt extremely modern. They had some memes in there, just the way the dialogue was and just the conversations. Extremely modern, but like I said, if you read that last series, that's exactly where this one feels like it's going so far. There's something wrong with the timeline. Gwen now needs to fix it, and I'm not sure if Spider-Zero is going to play a big role in this one, but she did make an appearance, and she stuck around for most of the issue, so going forward, we'll see. I've also been hyping up that first appearance for quite a while now. I felt as though she was going to play a major role going forward with pretty much anything Spider-Verse relating, especially because we don't know who she is yet, so maybe this series we find out her real identity, maybe she's a brand new character, maybe we've seen her before. We'll see how that goes. This series, if you're a Gwen Stacy fan, Spider-Gwen fan, definitely pick it up. Wasn't a bad read at all, but I was just hoping for a little bit more. In the previous video I was talking about where I said, I hope it's not that cheesy. I hope it's just, a really good series. And I'm getting the cheesy vibes right now. I want to hear your opinions on this one down low, but now let's talk about the next book. So next up this week from Marvel, we have Strange Academy, issue number 17. This is cover A. I absolutely love this series. This was a phenomenal issue. One of the best ones I read this week. Not my top issue of the week, though. But this truly is hands down one of my favorite ongoings from Marvel right now. I'm really sad it's going to be ending soon, but seriously, it has been such a fun ride leading up to this point. This issue picks up exactly where the last one left off. We had a little bit of everything. Emily and Doyle are getting into it. And speaking of Doyle, all the prophecies are starting to become true. Everything that he was told was going to happen is kind of at the beginning stages, and just now Brother Voodoo's getting involved. Gaslamp was in this one, and everything that was going on between Emily and Doyle is basically stemming from Calvin, our little drug dealer. If you remember him giving out the little gas lamps to all the students, he got expelled in the last issue, and they were fighting mainly because Emily was helping him out. Missed the dance and kind of left Doyle hanging. From there, though, man, Brother Voodoo, he ended up talking to Gaslamp, kicked Calvin out, and now Calvin's going back to Gaslamp, and I think he's got something planned for Calvin as well. But other than that, I feel very emotional reading this series. I'm so attached to these kids, and they made a huge stand at the very end of this issue. After kicking Calvin out, they said, you know what? Maybe it's not us that's the problems. Maybe it's not Calvin that had the issues. Maybe it's the teachers. Maybe they're the ones that are leading us wrong. They're telling us how to do all this stuff, but then when we do it wrong, we're getting in trouble. Or if we're not doing things right, we're getting in trouble. I love this series. Phenomenal issue. I'm going to be very sad when it's over, but now let's talk about the next one. All right, folks, so this is the last Marvel issue of the week. We've got a brand new ongoing to talk about. It's Punisher, issue number 1. This is cover A. I was so hyped up for this issue. I was really excited for it, and it did not disappoint. This one was fantastic. I love the artwork, the storytelling, and it just kept getting better and better, and I'm so excited for the next one. I saw a lot of people who were kind of hating on this series, not because it was bad, but they really hated the Punisher emblem. It's all right. It fits the story very well. I think going forward, it's going to be really cool. It might not stick around forever. Things like that usually don't. but where the story is, I think it makes a lot of sense. So with this one, we got a little bit of an intro, you know, the typical, this is how he became the Punisher. That only lasted like a page or two, so that's not a problem. But going forward from there, he's basically called the High Slayer now, and he is just full on badass. I'm not going to be getting too in depth with that. You really got to read this one for yourself. But they went into a lot of explanation. They gave a lot of backstory as to where he is right now, how he got there. But then we got left on a massive cliffhanger. That I'm definitely not going to be talking about. You got to read this for yourself. I'm telling you, if you're a Punisher fan, a Marvel fan, this one was really good in my opinion. The artwork is fantastic. I just love the gory, gruesome panels. And just going forward, it's going to be a real fun read. But now let's talk about the next book. All right, everyone, next up I'm going to be talking about Aftershock's brand new volume. We have We Live, Age of the Paladins, issue number 1. This is the white version, and this one needs to be read first before you move on to the black version. And I know that because I read the black version first and moved on to the white one. And when you finish the white one, it has a nice little box at the very end that says, now continued in We Live, Age of the Paladins, Black 1, and then continued in We Live, Age of the Paladins 2. So I thought, all right, here we go. Why didn't they put that at the beginning of the issue? It didn't really affect the story all that much to me. I was a big fan of both of them. I love the artwork. I was a big fan of the first volume as well. With this one, like I said, it's just kind of different perspectives of the story. One of them focuses a lot more on the Paladins themselves, and then the other one is focused more on kind of the rescue teams, the teams that go out to try to fix the shield. And with that being said, so this series is set 6 years in the future. I believe the city is called Megapolis 9, and yes, I did say city. They built up a whole little area. They put a shield around it, but these monsters are pretty much bringing them down. I'm not going to be getting too in-depth with each individual issue. That's just kind of a little breakdown of what happens in both of them together. Let's talk about this one down low, but now let's move on to the next book. And next up this week, I'm going to be talking about AWA's brand new series. We've got Hit Me, issue number 1. This is cover A. This was another hit from AWA, no pun intended. But this one was a phenomenal read. I was a big fan of the artwork and just the story itself. The actual plot of the story didn't really get developed, but it was the storytelling that really made it for me. We've got our main character, her name is Lulu, and her actual job is to be hit. She charges people to hit her, literally beat the hell out of her. And we get a little bit of backstory about that, about her kind of bodyguard, and I just really like the relationship that they have as well. I love her personality. Like I said, the storytelling and the dialogue between the characters, which is phenomenal in this one. As the story progressed a little bit more, we kind of found out where the story was going to be going. She's on her way to one of her clients, pretty much getting ready to take a beat down, and all hell breaks loose, and pretty much the aftermath of that, she finds a bag of diamonds, and that's kind of where they leave us. Really looking forward to this one. AWA, I know you've got another hit on your hands, but definitely check this one out if you're on the fence with it. And now let's move on to the next book. Next up on my list this week, we have Images, King of Spies, issue number 4. This is the end of the series. This is cover B, and man, what a phenomenal ending. This was such a satisfying read. I love this entire series. Every issue was unique in its own way. Every issue progressed the storyline, the character development, and by the end, I really felt for our main character. I loved it. The artwork, how gory and gruesome everything was, just how violent the attacks were. This was a phenomenal, fantastic read from Image. It was only 4 issues deep, and honest to God, the only problem I had with this series was that it was only 4 issues deep. If they could have continued on with it just a little bit longer, maybe 6 issues, maybe 8 issues, they could have gotten a little bit more in, because by the end of this one, he said there was a lot more men on his hit list that he really wanted to take down, and it just didn't pan out that way. But I'm telling you, this one was very satisfying. We kind of knew where the direction of the story was going, basically because you knew he was dying. So he had something huge planned up his sleeve, and everything that he wanted to do all happened in this issue. All the people that he even kind of wronged over the years, like the women, he made up for it as well. Definitely check this one out. It's 4 issues. I'm sure you can definitely find the back issues for this one. If not, I guarantee Image is definitely going to be making a trade paperback for this. And check it out online. I'm almost positive this one is optioned by Netflix as well, and this would be a banger of a TV show. Let's talk about it down low, and now move on to the next one. All right, everyone, next up from Image, we have Radiant Red, issue number 1. This is cover A. This is the start of the brand new mini-series featuring the Radiant Red character. Her name is Satomi, and I absolutely love this first issue. I love the main ongoing series. I love the origin story that they did with, I believe it was the Radiant Pink character. This one wasn't exactly the origin story that I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to dive into how Satomi actually gets the Radiant Red, superpowers. Didn't happen, but instead we got something even better. We learned who she is as a person, her personality, the things she wants out of life, and even her job and just her family. We really feel for her as a character now, and that's why I think this series is going to be fantastic, because once we got that out of the way and you're like, all right, I really like Satomi, she's a cool character, I like the things that she does. From there, she goes to her work, and we meet another character. I don't think we got the name for that one, but whoever that is knows exactly who she is. If you can recall, Satomi ended up robbing a bank and getting into some fighting at the beginning of the main ongoing series. And she thought to herself, well, I got a mask on, I got a suit on. Nobody knows who I am except these people do. And not just that, they want to meet with her, probably to utilize her power some sort of way. But then they also have video on not just her, but her family, her nieces and nephews. It's going to be such a fun read. If you're not on Radiant Black, any of this other Radiant stuff right now, you got to pick it up. However, I do need your opinions. I did not read any of the crossover stuff. I forgot to pick it up, and then I missed one. I missed the other one. Let me know what you think about those down low, and if I need to read those to get even a better understanding of everything in these main series. But now let's talk about the final book of the week. All right, everyone, this is my last book of the week, and it's my top read of the week. We've got Image's brand new series, Little Monsters, issue number 1. This is cover A. I loved this first issue. Now, before I get into it, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, man, not only did he pick, obviously, the indie title as his number 1, but it's by Jeff Lemire, one of his favorite writers. It was an obvious choice. I'm trying to keep bias out of this one right now. Played into it a little bit because I'm a big fan of his writing style. His writing style is just so simple, but at the same time, it really pulls you in and it really makes you think. And at the very end, it gets you on a cliffhanger. And that's exactly how this was. We got introduced to each one of these little kids, these little vampires, basically. And just, we saw what they were doing. We got a little bit of personality out of them. But then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, I'm kind of bored with what we're doing. The sun's coming up. Let's go to bed. Where's the other one? And they're all like, well, I don't know where he is. And now, boom, that's the plot. One of the kids is missing, so they all went looking for that missing kid, and then they find something else, and just such an awesome read. I love the artwork, too, and just, this is such a nice combo. The artwork, the style of writing. I cannot wait to see where they go with this series. So what do you guys think about this week's new comic book day? A huge week, a lot of brand new series. I did miss out on some. If there are any that I didn't talk about that you wish I would have, let me know down low in the comments section. I'll see about picking them up. And another thing, I really want to know, did you like this format better? Do you want me to go back to the top 10 list? I want to hear your opinions on that one too. And if you did like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It really does help out. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And I've got 2 more videos sitting off the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.